In this hands-on nugget, what we're going to do is play with the span feature in our data center. What we're going to have is we're going to have an MDS device, and this MDS device is going to be, of course, moving fiber channel traffic through our infrastructure. What we've done is we've connected to the MDS a Cisco port analyzer. And this Cisco port analyzer is going to take the fiber channel traffic, it's going to encapsulate it for us in Ethernet, and then it'll send it to a Windows workstation that I have running Wireshark. So we can go ahead and analyze the traffic on that Wireshark machine. Again, the Cisco port analyzer is really a nice feature here, since the Wireshark on the Ethernet world would not be able to understand the fiber channel traffic that the MDS device is sending us. Well, let's go into our lab environment and get this configured. Now, I've set up the SAN zoning and everything for us. I've set up the infrastructure of this lab, but anything particular to the span configuration, of course, it's the job of this particular nugget for me to do that live for you. In that regard, one of the things that we've got to do is we've got to go over to our machine where we're going to dump the packets to for analysis, the Wireshark system, and we've got to make sure the maximum MTU is big enough to handle these fiber channel over Ethernet frames that we're going to receive from the Cisco port analyzer. All right, great. So I'm going to right click our interface that we've got set up for this task, and I'm going to go into properties. Here in the properties for this interface, I'm going to choose configure, and the MTU is going to be on the advanced settings for this particular interface. Particularly, it's right down here under jumbo packet. We're going to set this value to 9,000 so we don't have a problem analyzing those massive packets that are going to be coming in. Now, we see that this resets the interface, and it's going to come back up, of course, with those particular parameters that we set. Okay, now that I've made that adjustment to our Wireshark workstation, let's head over to our MDS device. And on the MDS device, what I need to do is go to the port that connects to the Cisco port analyzer appliance, and I need to get it set up properly. That is the fiber channel 1/12 port in our topology. The first thing I'm going to do is set the switch port mode. We want a span destination port here, so we'll choose a mode of SD, and then we need to set the switch port speed in order to match that of our analyzer. We're dealing with a 1 gig setting. And then finally, for an encapsulation, we're going to go ahead and set the extended ISL encapsulation on this particular port. Let's no shut this particular port, and then we'll go ahead and do a show interface for verification. Show interface, and that's fiber channel 1/12. Okay, things are looking good here. We have the port mode properly set. We've got the speed properly set. We're in vSAN 1. We have the encapsulation set to EISL. Things are looking good on the interface. Now let's go ahead and set up our span session. So I'll exit the interface configuration mode and I'll say span session 1. And we enter span configuration mode. I'll say destination interface fiber channel 1/12, where we have our analyzer plugged in. And then I'll say our source interface is fiber channel 1/1. All right, excellent. I'll exit and I'll say show span session. Let's make sure this was set up properly. It is active and we have a destination port configured. We didn't do any filtering, and we have an ingress source and an egress source of fiber channel 1/1. So we're going to get fiber channel frames coming in and out of that port dumped to our destination of 1/12. Okay, now here we are in Wireshark. Time to set up the capture. We'll go to capture and we'll bring up our interfaces and we'll indicate that we want to capture on this particular interface right here. Notice it's not connected to our management domain. So we'll go ahead and say start the capture. Now what's cool is we can go in and filter on fiber channel. Notice that's actually one of the presets that Wireshark would understand. Now, of course, there's no packets flowing through our infrastructure yet. So let's go ahead and generate some packet traffic, shall we? One of the things that we can do is simply shut and no shut the interface that we are monitoring. So I'll go in and say interface fiber channel 1/1. We'll shut it. In fact, I'll go ahead and set it speed. And then we'll go ahead and no shut it. So this activity on the fiber channel interface that we're monitoring should definitely invoke some traffic. And look at that, it sure did. So we'll scroll up to the top here and we can see that we are indeed obtaining spanned packets or mirrored packets from our MDS device. Notice our very first packet is indeed a Fabric login packet. Cool, so there's our Floggy packet. I've got it selected inside of Wireshark. Therefore, we can see its details down below here. So here we've got information about the frame. Then we have the Ethernet information. Remember, this fiber channel was encapsulated inside of Ethernet. Then we start getting into our particulars for the particular fiber channel. Look at this. It came from vSAN 47, the vSAN I set up as part of the infrastructure prior to this demonstration. Very cool. Under the fiber channel, we can see that we have the fiber channel details of the packet, like the destination address for this particular packet for the Fabric login server. Then if we look at the fiber channel ELS information, we can come down here and expand and we can see common service parameters, which would include the worldwide name that is involved in this particular Fabric login. So excellent details can be obtained, obviously, through the analysis inside of Wireshark. And to recall for you now how this demonstration was done, we have our MDS device. Our MDS device is connected to an appliance from Cisco that will take these fiber channel packets and encapsulate them in Ethernet. So FCOE, is then dumped to my machine that we're on right now, running Wireshark for the analysis. So notice this was a very simple configuration thanks to some of the equipment that we utilized in this particular lab. Also remember how easy, relatively easy, the span configuration was. We can see it here. Very, very simple, the span configuration on the MDS device. Well, I sure hope this particular hands-on nugget regarding the switch port analyzer feature was informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.